Tonight, remembering Tori Stafford.
She was a beautiful little girl, taken far too soon.
A father's message on what would have been his daughter's 25th birthday. Plus, a new era for YOU.
It's emotional for me to come back. I'm excited to come back and really, really honored.
The incoming CEO and her vision for the organization's future. And larger than life, leaving a legacy. 140 years later, Jumbo the Elephant's lasting local connection.
CTV News with Carlyle Fiset.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with a message from Tori Stafford's father on what would have been the little girl from Woodstock's 25th birthday. More than a decade after her death, he wants to keep her memory alive through acts of kindness. Lauren Stallone reports.
Victoria Stafford was a larger-than-life, bubbly 8-year-old girl. Her father describes her as having a heart of gold.
Still hear nothing but positive thoughts from her friends and just how she used to be, and just overall was a great little friend.
Victoria was known as Tori to those who loved her most, and now to the world. Tori was abducted while walking home from school in Woodstock on April 8, 2009. Her body was found in a field 3 months later. Investigators determined she had been raped, tortured, and killed.
Her birth, just 25 years ago today, holding her in my hands, and vowing to protect her forever. And, kind of days like this, it makes it feel like I failed. But in a sense, there was nothing we could do.
Now, to mark what would have been Tori's 25th birthday, her father, Rodney, is asking members of the public to perform random acts of kindness in memory of his daughter.
Whether it be the loss of a child or through the courts or whatever, we just continue to try to do what we can to be there for others and use Victoria's instance as an example as to why things have to change.
Rodney says he misses Tori every day, but knows a part of her will always be with him.
Sometimes it'll be something as small as a butterfly, a song, just even something somebody may say that would remind me of something that Victoria would say, or just who she was.
Rodney says he is grateful for his community that have helped keep Tori's memory alive over the past 16 years and will continue to do so forever.
If you never met her, it's hard to explain, but at the same time, it's really not. She was a beautiful little girl, taken far too soon.
Lauren Stallone, CTV News.
A local animal advocacy group says canine parvovirus concerns are over at a community housing complex. According to Progressive Animal Welfare Services, 8 dogs were infected and 6 died. The virus spread across 2 apartment buildings on Warncliffe Road last month. Mobile vaccine clinics were set up outside the complex where 31 dogs received shots, and a booster clinic is scheduled for next month. Officials with the housing authority say they've been disinfecting indoor and outdoor common areas.
Within 2 weeks of us understanding that there did seem to be an outbreak, we rallied everybody involved in order to get a clinic on site. So we brought the veterinarians. They volunteered their time and donated a lot of product. With the proximity to Gibbons Park, we were particularly worried because it can spread to other animals easily. So there's always parvovirus out there. The important part is for them to be vaccinated. So for anybody else in the community that can get their dog to a clinic, get it vaccinated.
Provincial police say 1 person drowned after a canoe capsized on Lake Huron yesterday. According to OPP, 3 people ended up in the water, 2 of whom were able to swim to shore. They say a 32-year-old man did not immediately resurface. Police say bystanders helped get him to shore eventually and attempted CPR, but he was later pronounced dead in hospital.
There's another scorcher out there. Heat warning, it continues across parts of our region, including London, Sarnia, Chatham, and toward Windsor. Elgin, so St. Thomas and Woodstock, you are also under the heat warning. Temperatures this afternoon feeling like the upper 30s. We still have a special air quality statement in effect in through southern Huron County, Lambton, as well as Chatham, Kent, and Windsor. Air quality in parts of southern Ontario today falling into those levels where it is unhealthy to be spending a lot of time outdoors. So that special air quality statement still in effect. Now, in the London area, it was unhealthy for sensitive groups at times through the day today, and that will continue through the evening. Now, it feels like 33 to 35. In Sarnia, feeling like 37. It's a hot one. Clear conditions continue. Lots of sunshine this evening if you are heading out to your ball, soccer, or cricket match. Make sure you bring lots of water and take breaks. Temperatures will continue to be quite warm toward midnight under clear skies. Coming up, I'll take you through the forecast. I'm tracking a cold front that could spark some showers tomorrow. We'll take a look at that, and cooler, drier air moving in for the weekend. Carlyle?
Thank you, Julie. A warning from electricity experts about the demands expected in the coming years and whether our power grid will be able to keep up. As Rukhsar Ali reports, without solutions, roughly half of North America's population could be dealing with rolling blackouts.
Extreme weather events have left thousands of Canadians without power, sometimes for weeks. And climate change could make it worse.
The grid that we have today has not been designed for accommodating such extreme scenarios.
Between 2013 and 2023, Canada's 10 most significant weather events that impacted power grids caused about 20 million electricity interruptions to customers.
More shortfalls can occur during these extreme weather events, and it poses a serious concern for reliability.
A recent report from the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, or NERC, found that most provinces were found to be increasingly vulnerable during extreme weather, putting them at risk of shortfalls. Nova Scotia, one of the most vulnerable.
We've had Hurricane Dorian, Hurricane Fiona, which is the biggest storm we've ever had in Nova Scotia. We had Hurricane Lee, we've had wildfires, floods, pretty much everything, and all of those have weakened the power system.
Utilities like this in the province are taking some future-proofing steps by swapping out older poles with stronger ones.
The lightning hits, and all of a sudden there is a short circuit.
At the University of Toronto's Grid Modernization Centre, Ali Hushiar and his team are running real-time simulations using super-powered computers to find solutions. One solution is smart technology. That includes sensors and software to communicate information along the grid, to make supply decisions faster and to minimize disruptions when the grid's under pressure. Climate change isn't the only factor putting pressure on the grid. So is increased demand, with more people using everything from electric vehicles to heat pumps.
We're going to need more wind, more solar, more hydro, more nuclear to be able to meet the challenges of the future.
And the artificial intelligence boom is another potential challenge. Massive amounts of electricity needed to run thousands of servers.
10 years ago, if we were told that 10 years later, one of your biggest challenges is going to be AI data centers, people would think that this is just science fiction.
The major challenge is meeting Canada's energy needs before demand outpaces progress. But with more frequent extreme weather events and more strain on the grid, that task is becoming more urgent. Rukhsar Ali, CTV News, Toronto.
A two-car crash shut down a street in central London this afternoon. The cars collided at Stanley and Horn Streets. The force of the impact caused one vehicle to jump the curb. The other sustained significant front-end damage. A witness tells CTV News they saw one person taken to hospital. Border agents say two people from London face numerous drug and weapon charges. They say agents intercepted gun parts heading to a London address at a mail processing center in the Toronto area. They say a search warrant was later executed in London this spring, seizing several items. According to the CBSA, those included privately manufactured handguns, a 3D printer, as well as parts and various drugs. London police say they've charged two suspects through a downtown shooting investigation dating back to last year. They say an 18-year-old man from Toronto and a 20-year-old from Brampton were arrested last week in the GTA. Police say they've since been returned to London and remain in custody. Police said they were called to Dundas and Wellington last November after a security guard found bullet holes in the back door of an illegal cannabis shop. No injuries were reported, though. Police in the Niagara region say they're looking for suspects accused of throwing rocks at moving vehicles on a highway. OPP released images of damaged vehicles hit by the rocks. However, they have not said when the rocks were thrown or just how many vehicles were hit.
If you are the perpetrator involved in this, turn yourself in and contact a lawyer and report into the Niagara OPP detachment. But again, we're appealing for any witnesses or anyone with information that can assist us with this investigation. It is dangerous and it needs to stop.
OPP had previously announced charges earlier this month against 2 teenagers accused in a similar rock throwing incident near Toronto. A new era is beginning for Youth Opportunities Unlimited. The organization is entering a transitional phase, naming a new CEO for the first time in nearly 4 decades. As Jerry Dewan reports, she's no stranger to YOU's operations and mandate.
Steve Cordes has been Executive Director of Youth Opportunities Unlimited for more than 35 years. One of his last tasks has been preparing a report to help with the leadership transition.
As I was writing that and reminding myself of those milestones, it becomes really emotional for me. And I was telling the management team earlier this week, we were talking about vulnerability, when you bring your vulnerability to work. And I said, I'm getting used to crying in public now.
But having Andrea Topham named as his successor this week has given Cordes confidence the organization is in good hands.
I am retiring more easily, knowing that it's somebody who understands the culture so well coming in.
Topham's fingerprints are already on YOU operations. She was with the organization as they launched the Cornerstone Project in 2011, a bold initiative that established geared to youth supportive housing.
I learned so much, and I've taken so much of what I've learned from Steve with me, for sure. It's emotional for me to come back. I'm excited to come back, and really, really honored that I get to build on a legacy that Steve created here.
Youth Opportunities Unlimited has changed dramatically in the time that Steve Cordes has been at the helm, going from a youth employment consultation service to offering a wide range of opportunities for young people. That includes skills training young people get while working in the U Cafe, and now the transitional housing that's part of Jones Place, geared to young women who are pregnant, young mothers, and young families. Topham is hoping to build on the work done under Cordes' leadership.
For me, it's really about learning from the staff who have been working at Youth Opportunities. They're the experts in this work, and I think that my job is really to walk alongside and support them, and then together we'll look at where we're going to go next.
YOU Board Chair Terry Gillis says there were more than 100 candidates for the executive director position, but he's gratified the top candidate was the one who had such strong ties to the community and the organization.
The coming home, she knows the organization so well, she knows the sector so well. We really feel it's going to be seamless.
Topham is currently CEO of Community Services Coordination Network, which supports children and youth with developmental disabilities. She'll assume her new role on August 18th. Jerry Dewan, CTV News.
A larger-than-life figure with a reputation dating back more than a century is the subject of a new exhibit at the Elgin County Heritage Center. With more on the lasting legacy of Jumbo the elephant, here's Brent Lale.
Jumbo's story, I think a lot of people know the ending. They know what happened and the tragedy that occurred here. But there's so much more that we wanted to be able to share.
140 years after his death, an exhibit takes you through the life of the African elephant, who went from Paris to England, where he became a beloved pet at the Zoological Gardens for 17 years.
His stardom really exploded and Jumbo Mania really took hold when P.T. Barnum came onto the scene and offered to buy Jumbo from the zoo. One of my favorite artifacts that we have is this letter from P.T. Barnum to Abraham Bartlett, who is the superintendent at the London Zoological Gardens, actually discussing the sale of Jumbo.
Jumbo became so famous, his likeness and name became a marketing tool.
His name started really showing up on different objects, different pieces of memorabilia, from shoelaces to matches to cigar boxes to pop bottles. This one was presented to Abraham Bartlett, the superintendent of the London Zoo, by P.T. Barnum, essentially thanking him for selling Jumbo.
Jumbo was with Barnum for 3 years until his death.
September 15th, 1885, Jumbo was, they were wrapping up a show in St. Thomas, and Jumbo was being walked back to his train car along with another elephant, Tom Thumb, when an unscheduled freight train, unfortunately, was coming down the tracks at the same time, and Jumbo was struck and killed. This is one of the advertisements that we have for Jumbo's last appearance, dated for St. Thomas, Tuesday, September 15th.
And maybe the most important and historical piece?
A slice of Jumbo's tusk. And this piece is really important for us because it is such a unique piece. Only 5 of these slices were ever prepared.
About 90% of the memorabilia either belongs to local historian Steve Peters or was once in his collection. Now it's available for the public to see.
This exhibition is really just a celebration of his life and his legacy.
Brent Lale, CTV News.
A local baseball prospect is about to start a minor league journey toward big league dreams. He was selected during yesterday's MLB draft. Scott Miller has more on his plans to climb the professional ranks.
Tyson Moran became the first Wingham resident to ever hear his name called in the MLB draft. The 19-year-old is about to become a professional baseball player.
Sounds really good. Oh, it's a dream come true, and I'm looking forward to it.
Surrounded by family, friends, and teammates, Moran was selected in the 13th round of the 20-round MLB draft on Monday. He was selected 398th overall by the Kansas City Royals. Not bad for a kid from a town of 3,000 where hockey is king and it's below zero for nearly half the year.
It hasn't soaked in yet. I'm sure it will in the next couple of days, but just trying to not take it for granted.
Moran, who played for the Great Lake Canadians in Dorchester, put himself on Major League Scouts' radar within the past year, winning MVP at the Toronto Blue Jays Futures Showcase in September and hitting 2 home runs against professional pitchers in an Arizona-based showcase this March. Moran was planning on playing at North Dakota State University this fall, but instead he'll be heading to Arizona to join Kansas City's other draftees in the Arizona Complex League. That will happen within the next couple of weeks.
I won't be playing for Great Lakes anymore. I'll be in the Kansas City Royals organization, kind of just working my way up from ground zero. So kind of proving myself. This is kind of the first step, if you will, to pro ball.
Now, Moran is under no illusions. He is fully aware that 13th round picks of the Major League drafts don't usually make it to the majors. But his coaches say if there is someone who is going to make it from the 13th round, it is going to be Tyson Moran.
Obviously, the hit tool is what really stands out with him, but I think the separator is going to be the makeup. There's a tremendous amount of determination in Tyson. You know, he was a player that Great Lake cut several times, and he kept coming back. He used it as motivation to improve his game and really take off. So I think when it comes to sustaining yourself in a really difficult game, those are kind of the traits that scouts look for. So when you pair a guy who can really hit with a guy who's super determined, I think you have yourself a major league player one day.
Just to hear my name called, that's kind of the 100% for me, to kind of my way of thinking that like I did it kind of thing.
In Wingham, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Coming up, is a tariff-free deal still possible? Prime Minister convenes a cabinet meeting addressing the ever-shifting trade war goalposts.
I've crossed the same port of entry since 2007 with no issues at all.
Plus, the story of a New Hampshire man visiting family in New Brunswick, but now can't go home.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We begin tonight with Ontario's latest.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. CTVLondon.ca, your home for news.
Who's Hungry London? Growing Chefs Ontario presents Londonlicious, July 18th to August 10th, spotlighting unique and delicious eats in the Forest City. Enter now at ctvlondon.ca for your chance to win dinner for 2 at one of the amazing restaurants.
The Prime Minister has seemingly shifted his tone when it comes to a potential tariff-free trade deal with the United States. As Rachel Aiello reports, an agreement like that may even be off the table for any country.
I expect that the discussions will intensify between now and the end of the month.
Staring down an August 1st deadline, today the Prime Minister convened a rare summer cabinet meeting to discuss U.S. President Donald Trump's latest 35% tariff threat. With the goalpost moved again, Carney lowered expectations that Canada can get a deal that would result in Trump dropping all tariffs, noting that so far no country has managed to secure a tariff-free trade agreement with the U.S.
It certainly comes off as a bit of a wake-up call.
It's an admission this lawyer, who used to litigate for Canada against the United States, says sends a clear signal to businesses.
If a baseline tariff does look like it's going to stick, then all of a sudden you can't operate in that environment forever, and you have to make real lasting decisions with respect to your customers and your suppliers.
Trump today sounded more optimistic about how talks are going.
We're negotiating with Canada right now, and we'll see how that all works out. I think it's going to work out very well.
This comes as data suggests Canadians are split on their confidence in Carney delivering a deal. New polling shows 63% of Canadians surveyed said they want the Prime Minister to push back and take a harder line in negotiations, while 37% prefer a softer approach.
Domestic confidence is going to be important. Carney needs to feel like he has a mandate from the people of Canada.
Carney campaigned on a promise to take on Trump with his elbows up. But since winning the election, even as the president has ratcheted up the trade war, Canada has not levied any new retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
The cost of President Trump's trade war is starting to show up on American store shelves, with inflation shooting up last month south of the border. Inflation also crept up in Canada, but not to the same extent. With more, here's Abigail Beeman.
I bought it late, and the price was very high.
The cost of living is definitely not equivalent to what like an entry-level job or even like a decent paying job.
Overall, new numbers from Statistics Canada show the consumer price index rose 1.9% year over year in June, and that's up from 1.7% in May. But important to note, when you take energy out of the equation, the number is much higher, 2.7%, and that's in part because of the removal of the carbon tax. Gas prices continue to be lower, though June's decline was smaller than in May. And of course, many people are focused on the cost of food. The good news for your grocery bill is food prices are increasing at a slower pace, largely driven by a decline in vegetable prices, specifically helped by cheaper onions and cucumbers. And car prices are up 4.1%. Used cars jumped 1.7%, and that's the first year-over-year increase in 18 months. Statistics Canada doesn't have much to say about the impact of U.S. tariffs, with some economists believing it may be too early to feel the impact.
If anything, that should be depressing prices because it's restricting our exports, that's weakening our markets, but I don't think that's having a big impact. We didn't levy counter tariffs on many things, and we've already pulled back on a number of them.
These numbers are the last look the Bank of Canada has at price data before the next interest rate decision. That's coming July 30th. The key interest rate currently sits at 2.75%. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A Canadian citizen who lives in the U.S. says he's stuck on this side of the border, refused entry to the States by U.S. border agents. As Josh Smith reports, he has a family waiting for him in New Hampshire, and at this point, he has no idea how he'll get back to them.
It definitely has made a tremendous mountain out of a molehill.
Chris Landry had hoped to be back home in New Hampshire by now, but his visit to see his family near Shediac has been extended after he was turned away at the border.
I was absolutely shocked. I've crossed the same port of entry since 2007 with no issues at all.
Landry has lived in the States since he was 3 and has a green card and works in manufacturing. He says border guards in Holton told him he couldn't enter because of a marijuana conviction nearly 20 years ago.
It's terrible. It's, everything in my life is essentially put on hold. But my primary concern right now is, how's my family going to survive at home without me?
Moncton lawyer and former Justice Minister Mike Murphy was surprised to hear about the situation.
It really concerns me because now Canada is being treated like really every other nation in the world, despite our social and economic integration.
Murphy has some advice for Canadians living in the U.S.
I would suggest that they look very carefully at trying to become U.S. citizens, that they look deeply into their past.
Right now, Landry is trying to clear those old charges so he can get back to his partner and 5 children.
I'm hopeful that, we can get this cleaned up and I can go home and resume my life, my quiet life, just going to work and raising my kids and trying to provide a good future for them.
Landry says he's never applied for citizenship because he's a third-generation green card holder, and this has never been a problem before. But if he's allowed back home, it is one of the first things he'll do. Josh Smith, CTV News, Shediac, New Brunswick.
Julie's on the desk with me now. The haze has cleared up compared to what we were seeing yesterday. Dry, though, now, and I know it sounds like there's a chance for some precipitation. Will it be all that much, though, later this week?
Yeah, in terms of our next round of rain coming in, we have a front approaching tomorrow, and ahead of the front, we'll see some instability, so we could pick up some showers. Although, unless we get under a thunderstorm, rainfall amounts look to be quite limited. Let's look at the beach, though. So many people out enjoying this awesome weather. If you have to work outdoors, not so awesome, but if you get to be enjoying it by a cool pool or perhaps down by the water, temperatures hit 30 degrees this afternoon, 15 degrees are low. It'll be warmer out there tonight. Satellite radar, as you can see, keeping us in the clear. Now, there were reports of smoke at the London airport for a couple of hours this afternoon. And yes, checking that air quality, try to keep you posted, checking as we head through hour by hour in the afternoon, the air quality dropping down. So in terms of wanting to be outdoors, exercising for an extended period of time, if you're a highly sensitive individual, you want to limit your time outdoors. Now, as we take a look at the satellite radar, you can see we are clear. We do have some rainfall and a few thunderstorms to the north. This is all in advance of our next weather system. So it's draped off to the northwest. Eventually, the cold front will start to come in, and that will be pushing through as we head into Thursday. Now, big story in Western Canada has been the rainfall and the cool conditions in through Alberta. Temperatures have been on the cooler side through the week today. Definitely not feeling the July heat. That heat is bottled up over the Great Lakes and heading to the Maritimes with widespread heat warnings in place tonight. Temperatures into the mid to upper 20s. Now it feels, yes, close to 40. As we head through the overnight, we won't see much relief from the warmth. It'll still be quite muggy overnight. 19 to 20 degrees across most of southern Ontario. Now watch the forecast model. We start to see a few spotty light showers. So if you have big plans to be outdoors tomorrow, just be aware there will be some light rainfall possible in the afternoon, and can't rule out a thunderstorm. Now you can see the storms really start to get active in through parts of south and central Michigan. As we head into the evening, most of that looks to fall apart over southern Ontario. We could see a storm push through the Bruce Peninsula first thing Thursday morning, and that's in advance of the cold front. So you can see a few storm cells moving through. The front will come across the area, and this front is going to change things up for us. So we have cooler, drier conditions moving in for the weekend. You'll notice a change in the air mass. We've been dealing with high humidity levels over well, pretty much the bulk of the summer. We've been into the heat and humidity with rarely days in a row where the cool conditions last. This weekend, you will feel a nice change. So sunshine for your Wednesday morning, chance for showers in the afternoon, and the risk of a thunderstorm. It'll be intensely hot and humid in the afternoon. Our Metal Roof Outlet forecast will have us feeling like 40. Thursday, the chance for showers. This is a cold front coming in, and the temperature drops off. Look at the overnight lows, 12 to 14 degrees. That's cool enough to open those windows up and perhaps give the air conditioners a break. A mix of sun and cloud, 26 on Saturday. A mix of sun and cloud with the chance of nighttime rain. A few showers in the forecast on Sunday. At this point, we'll be looking for rainfall as it has been extremely dry. Monday into Tuesday, a mix of sun and cloud, 26 to 28. Possibility of a few pop-up thunderstorms in Midwest Western Ontario tomorrow if you are heading to the shoreline of Lake Huron. Just be aware in the afternoon we could see some active weather. Chance for showers on Thursday as the cold front comes through. It looks like we will see some storms blow through the Bruce Peninsula. And then Friday into Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud with some showers in the forecast Saturday night into Sunday. Carlyle, back to you.
I go many days here now. I don't see one single Canadian.
When we come back, duty-free shops at border crossings facing an uncertain future as traffic dries up.
If you were a server, did you ever lie about what's going on in your life to get more tips? That story's going viral right now online.
Yes, join us tomorrow morning just after 6:30 for all the juicy details.
The owner of a duty-free shop in the Maritimes says he's shutting down his business because it's no longer financially feasible, a casualty of trade war travel patterns changing. Nick Moore reports.
Normally, these shelves would be full.
John Slip has been hoping for a miracle at the border, something that would bring traffic back to the Woodstock duty-free store in Atlantic Travel Center, which his family has operated for 40 years.
I go many days here now. I don't see one single Canadian.
U.S.-bound traffic from Canada is down significantly, and duty-free shops were some of the first to feel that impact earlier this year.
I laid off the remainder of my staff, and it's just me here. We're not bringing enough money to, to pay the basic bills.
The shop here was still trying to recover from the pandemic, but now with the trade war, revenue is down by as much as 60% compared to 2019. So now, tough decisions have to be made.
This is expected to go on for a number of years, so it's just not sustainable. So I decided that I'm going to have to close the store.
New Brunswick's other duty-free shop is in St. Stephen and has also been a family-run business for 40 years. The owner here telling CTV Today that there's still hope for good news, but that all duty-free shops are in the same boat. The National Association, representing 32 duty-free shops across the country, says help from the federal government is critical.
And this should be our busy season. This is where duty-free shops make their money. And this is unfortunately a moment in time that we are going through. And we have asked the government's help to help us make it through, because we know at some point that this will get back to more normal times.
Slip says more duty-free stores will have to close if that support doesn't come soon.
We have employed local Canadians. We sell and promote local product. They look to support the exporters. Everything we sell is exported to the United States. Every single last item. We are an exporter, and we should get that support. But here we are.
For now, Slip says he's looking to sell off what he has left here, then shut down for good by the end of August. Nick Moore, CTV News, Belleville, New Brunswick.
A warning about the risks of cryptocurrency investing. Make sure the site you're using is legitimate. As Pat Foran reports, there are plenty of scammers out there weaponizing artificial intelligence to create fake ads featuring real people.
We got stung big time.
Donald and Ghislaine Perkins of Ottawa say it was in January when they saw a video of then Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland. She appeared to be talking about an investment opportunity that could make them rich.
I urge each of you to seize this opportunity and register for the project. I personally guarantee the safety of your funds.
We bought into it, and we got swindled by a very smooth-talking couple of individuals.
The Perkins started out investing just a few $100s, but eventually handed over their life savings of more than $42,000.
When we went to access the money, they wouldn't give it to us and said that we had to give them $10,000.
Mark Carney came on with a woman that is very prominent in the bank system.
Brenda Dion of Whitby invested in cryptocurrencies after watching a deep-fake video of Prime Minister Mark Carney.
Make your initial deposit. From that point on, the algorithm earns on your behalf.
Dion says after she handed over her banking information, the fraudsters cleaned out her bank account of $16,000.
I said, I don't want you taking this money out of my account. I said, stop taking my money.
Fraudsters are using fraudulent ads on social media to get victims.
The Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre says Canadians lost $310 million to investment scams last year, and $190 million involved cryptocurrency scams. Most frauds involved altered video using AI to make it appear someone is saying to invest in a platform which is completely fake.
If you're opening up your search engine and you're searching up a crypto investment, that the first 5 to 10 results, are going to be more than likely fraudulent platforms.
The Perkins have health problems and were hoping to boost their retirement savings, but instead lost it all.
I have a bag in my stomach, and I go to dialysis 3 times a week. This was a good portion of our life savings.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Checking the markets today, Canada's main stock index fell more than 140 points. In New York, the Dow fell 436. The Nasdaq gained 37. The Canadian dollar down 1/10 cent today. On commodity markets, gold fell $22 an ounce. Oil lost 44 cents a barrel. Later on CTV News, what might be the ultimate case of beginner's luck? How a first-time golfer sank a hole-in-one and had no idea it would be such a big deal. Welcome back. An intersection with an increasingly dangerous reputation in Old South might prompt a citywide review of London's crossing guard policies. Daryl Newcomb has more on those discussions at City Hall.
It's a 4-way stop at Wortley and Emery, but it doesn't take long to find drivers who ignore the signs. Persistent, dangerous driving at the intersection brought parents to City Hall asking for a school crossing guard this September.
These urgent requests reveal a persistent safety gap at the intersection.
It's beyond appalling that we've gone this far in order for our children to safely make it to school.
Currently, London spends $1.5 million each year on 106 crossing guard locations. Councillor Skylar Frank asked the committee for a review of City Hall's crossing guard policy and to develop a budget business case for $200,000 that would pay for about 14 additional crossing guards citywide.
This is just one of the tools we have in our toolbox that I was hoping to move forward because it seems that the enforcement that's currently being done is not sufficient.
I have 2 schools in my ward that for the past 2 years, I've been hearing from the parents same thing. This isn't an isolated case in my ward, nor is it an isolated case in Councillor Frank's ward. This is happening all over the city.
According to city staff, the intersection of Emery and Wortley was recently evaluated for the potential of having a crossing guard, but did not meet the current criteria, which includes things like pedestrian and vehicle traffic levels.
There is some flexibility in choosing what standards and metrics we're using and where we want to put crossing guards.
I do think that this is something that should be regularly reviewed. As Councillor Frank indicated, we can go above the provincial minimums if we deem it necessary.
The committee unanimously recommended developing a budget business case for future consideration and to review the criteria for locating crossing guards in consultation with local school boards and private schools. But no decision will be made in time for the return to school in Old South.
I'm ultimately disappointed that we didn't receive the relief that we're looking for ourselves, our peace of mind, and for our children come September.
Council will make a final decision July 22nd. Daryl Newcomb, CTV News.
Canadian military personnel have been called in to fight Manitoba wildfires. About 1,500 people have had to evacuate their communities in recent days, bringing the total to around 12,000 since the start of this wildfire season. A second province-wide state of emergency in the last 2 months has also been declared. Officials say there are more than 120 fires burning across the province right now, and nearly 250 firefighters have been brought in from Mexico, the U.S., and New Zealand to assist. Meanwhile, Saskatchewan authorities have declared a wildfire emergency advisory for Prince Albert National Park because of a fire which could create emergency situations for locals because of poor air quality and visibility. That fire is about 35,000 hectares in size, and residents in its potential path have been asked to prepare for potential evacuation. As of last night, there were 55 active fires in Saskatchewan, 12 of them uncontained. There are reports in the UK a royal reconciliation between King Charles and Prince Harry may be in the works.
to be trust on all sides, and that's trust on the side of the King and trust on the side of Harry and Meghan as well. Yes, Harry is very concerned about his security, but yes, the ambushing, as he calls it, by the royal family. Each side has things that they need for this reconciliation to happen. That's trust, perhaps that's apologies, and perhaps that's the ambushing on both sides of the argument.
According to British media, representatives for the King and Prince have been meeting behind the scenes, reportedly working on a face-to-face between the estranged father and son. The relationship fractured when Prince Harry and Meghan left royal duties and the UK, and further frayed after the couple's Netflix tell-all and Harry's memoir. The American restaurant chain Olive Garden could soon expand with more locations across Canada. Officials with Canada's largest restaurants operator, Recipe Limited, say they've purchased all 8 Olive Garden locations in Canada, with plans to expand the footprint on this side of the border. That company also operates Swiss Chalet, Harvey's, and The Keg. At one point, there were as many as 15 Olive Gardens in Ontario, but they have all closed or were closed by the early 2000s.
Thanks to Betty Fletcher. She says it's hay season. A great photograph to share with our viewers tonight. Hazy conditions continue overnight. The risk for showers Wednesday. Still intensely humid, feeling close to 40. Chance for showers as we head into Thursday, and cooler conditions expected for the weekend, and the humidity drops.
Officials with the Canadian Organization for Rare Disorders say the federal government isn't living up to a funding promise, now asking provincial leaders to get involved. Pauline Chan reports.
The rare disease drug strategy was announced in 2019 under the previous Liberal government, but it actually didn't become in effect until 2023.
The deal involves $1.4 billion, the first major financial commitment to the rare diseases community.
Quite frankly, our biggest concern is we haven't seen them spending monies at all. We have no idea where the monies is going. They already have drug plans that they should be covering these drugs. We don't see any extra support for patients. In fact, we see patients being denied treatments.
Cystic fibrosis, muscular dystrophy, sickle cell disease all come under the umbrella of rare diseases.
We say 3.2 million Canadians are living with a rare condition.
And while the money was earmarked for medications,
more than 50% of these people have a really difficult time getting an accurate diagnosis. For a rare condition, sometimes it can take 3 years, 5 years, 7 years to get a diagnosis. In the meantime, you may get up to a dozen misdiagnoses, which is actually a tragedy because you start getting the wrong treatments.
Wong Rieger says it's not that doctors are careless, but they don't get the right training or support.
And we have begged for not a drug strategy, but a rare disease strategy.
What the Canadian Organization for Rare Disorders, or CORD, is calling for is the creation of centers of excellence for rare conditions.
Europe is by far the most advanced in terms of having good national plans. They have European, what they call reference networks that work across, all the 24 countries so they can coordinate and collaborate. You got a disease in Romania, you can see a specialist in Germany.
CORD is calling on the premiers to coordinate centers across the provinces, as the European countries do, to bring equitable access to diagnostics as well as treatments, plus supports for caregivers, especially parents, because 70% of patients living with rare disorders are children. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
New York police have shared footage of a new dangerous trend called subway surfing. This drone footage shows 4 kids riding on top of a subway car. Officers said they later boarded the train and took them all into custody, 2 of whom are only 12 years old. Earlier this month, a teenager died while riding on top of a New York subway train, a case police say was likely another example of subway surfing.
London's top stories.
We have breaking news tonight out of Ottawa. The latest on the
breaking news alerts.
I'm tracking an area of severe weather. It'll start.
And watch live.
A development now to a story from City Hall we brought you.
Download the CTV News app.
Welcome back. Dozens of young cricket players got a chance to learn from the pros in the GTA today. With more on the sport's growing popularity, here's Scott Lightfoot.
In a space usually filled with ice and skates, today it was all wickets and bowls. Dozens of kids from Scarborough got the chance to learn the fundamentals of cricket from some of the game's top-tier players inside the Malvern Community Centre.
Our thing here is to give them that kind of joy and kind of spread that kind of little love so that they could take it home and be like, Mom, I think I want to be a part of cricket.
This clinic is part of the TD Young Wickets program, aimed at helping to grow the game across this country.
It's a very popular game across the world, second most popular sport in the entire world. But here in Canada, there's not enough places to play. So we want to make sure it's accessible.
Along with today's introduction, TD provides take-home cricket kits so the kids can take the game back into their neighborhoods.
It's just about putting them in their mind, and it's for them to decide whether they like the sport, they want to play it again, they want to watch it again, whether play as a player or watch as a fan, different kids will choose different directions.
Well, it was clear that some kids had tried cricket before, others not so much. But many involved with today's event say getting youth involved in the sport is one of the biggest keys to growing the game's popularity here in Canada.
I think maybe out of 10, maybe 2 of them will pick up the sport and then maybe end up playing for nationals or for Team Canada or maybe a club cricket, yeah.
And for those looking to cheer on a team, hopes of a professional club in this city or even this country could help create a whole new legion of fans.
If you can get that here and you have role models on TV, these kids can obviously, they want to play cricket, they want to play for Canada, they want to play for Toronto. So I think once you see that happening, the growth's going to keep going.
Scott Lightfoot, CTV News.
And finally tonight, a special moment on an Alberta golf course. 23-year-old Emma Strong sunk a hole-in-one, apparently during her first ever round of golf. She says she had never played before in her life, but drained her tee shot on her 4th hole, a par 3. Strong is from the UK, picking up a summer job at the golf course. Her co-workers were thrilled for her, while she says she wasn't even sure what all the fuss was about, under the impression holes-in-one happened all the time.
I started telling people and told my brother plays golf, and no one could believe it, and they were all getting annoyed at me, and I'm like, oh, okay, you've never had one either. Oh, maybe it is a bit rarer than I thought.
I think it's so typical of golf too that, she gets a hole-in-one on not only on her first round, but literally the first par 3 of her first round.
Strong says the rest of her round didn't quite live up to that excitement created by that particular moment, one though I'm sure she'll remember for a long time. That's it for us. Thanks for watching. For your latest local headlines, you can always head to our website. I'm back tonight with your late news at 11. Bye for now.